It's just like so openly happening in the classroom. Oh, that angle. What was that? Hello fellow anime geeks and welcome to another review in my ongoing quest to try every anime series that I can. I'm working my way through everything that we got this 2021 spring, and today's anime is Osananajimi ga Zettai ni Makenai love comedy, or on Crunchyroll, Osamake, rom-com where the childhood friend won't lose. As usual, I'm organizing my thoughts by answering these 4 questions, and first up is genre. The mouth tags are harem, comedy, romance, and school, and all of those are correct. That's precisely what this is. It's a harem rom-com. There's tons of manipulations and schemes going on behind our protagonist's back. There's post-arc digests where we talk about the methods that each of these girls took and who currently ranks highest on the harem totem pole. I mean, it's very much in the style of ORESUKI, and in fact this took me on the exact same journey as ORESUKI. Both begin with all of these different schemes at play, and our protagonist is no exception, but he has to be a good guy at heart, so his puny little schemes don't compare to all of the different crud that's going down around him. So things fall apart, but all that happens is this harem ends up forming around our protagonist, and now that the other girls are aware of each other, they proceed to literally throw themselves onto our protagonist. What's a guy to do? But these similarities to ORESUKI in terms of tone, premise, subplots, and sometimes even characters isn't what I mean when I say that it took me on the same journey. I started loving both of these anime. I thought that it was really smart and interesting having all of these different schemes colliding. They both got me super invested in our protagonist and like how he would fare after everything was over. And then they both had really satisfying conclusions to their original set of problems. But then, after 5 or 6 episodes, both of these anime really struggled to keep the same fun and tension that they built up. I mean, they just both evolved into disjointed, nonsensical, fanservice-y situations, and we added more and more girls into the harems until our protagonist was just so desirable that I just didn't care about his romantic success anymore. I kind of feel like both of these anime maybe wrote past what was in their light novels. I don't know, if anyone knows, comment below. Because that first arc in Osamake really was good and unique. All of the different subplots for all of the different girls and our protagonist even, they were pretty cliche, but all of them working together at the same time was interesting. And the tone was so irreverent and the comedy was so good. I mean, that it really had me feeling that secondhand cringe. I was convinced that this was a harem parody, much like Ouran is a reverse harem parody with a whole bunch of crud going on. You want a new harem girl? Why not a whole new romantic trope to go with her? Reunited childhood friends, the girl next door, the one that comes out of nowhere when the tension is high, and the instant harem multiplier, a whole group of sisters that's in love with you. Of course, all of the situational tropes are there too. The cooking for the guy you like competition, the will they won't they vacation, living together, which by the way, what dad in their right mind is like, here, have my daughter? And how does acting translate to being a pop idol outside of like Gekidol? And these are just a couple of the strange circumstances that our plot devolves into. I mean, it felt like they started picking fan service shots and heroic situations for our protagonist out of a hat, and then they started trying to figure out how our characters could get there. Even if the way that they had to get there was far-fetched and nonsensical. I mean, we lost all sense of direction and cohesiveness, but I do have to say that I like the ambiguity that all of this brought to the title. Much like How I Met Your Mother or Go-toubun no Hanayome, you start wondering who your protagonist is going to end up with. I mean, tsundere always wins though, right? So, is it worthwhile? Well, I think it's fairly obvious that this one isn't for me, but I also don't think that it was intended for me. And like I said, I feel like the first arc of Osamake and ORESUKI for that matter, they were really good complete stories, and they were unique, they were hilarious, and unlike a lot of romantic shoujo anime, and manga, they showed us how prideful and manipulative and scheming people can be, and how their schemes can go wrong in a very fun package. I do have to say this though, I stopped watching and reading ORESUKI because it just evolved into a romantic male fantasy that I was too embarrassed to read. But I stopped watching Osamake because it got dumb. But hey, I am the first to admit that I like plenty of dumb stuff just because it taps into some sort of romantic fantasy that I apparently like. So I'm not going to say that this has zero value. I think that you might like this one if you want to be bombarded with just funny, outrageous, fanservice-y harem situations. And you know what? It is perfectly alright to like dumb stuff. And on that note, I'll catch you in the next video. Wait a minute. That's what's her face. This is all so that she can... So that's the real childhood friend. Yeah. It sounds like he wants him to get back into acting. No wonder she cried when he said he liked the book. And she's knowing, but she's using the other guy's hatred for him. I wouldn't even be surprised if they weren't on it together.